Hello and welcome back to this episode of the CAYACast. We are with the loveliest Mila.
Fantastic. Strong start. She just did your whole name
can they
into
see me?
Mither.
In this one.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Mila Smith.
Okay, let's jump.
Hey.
Hello and welcome back to the CAYACast. We are here today with the lovely Mila Smith. And we're going to start the episode the way we start every episode. And that's asking you, what do you think is most often missed out from when people are introducing you? So maybe it's like Mila Smith, singer, songwriter, this and that. What do you feel like people are missing about you that you really feel like that should be in my intro, that should be known?
That's such a good question. I mean, because the thing is, usually I end up taking over the intro anyway. So I'm like, just to add as a caveat. But I think this is usually stated, so I'm not sure if it fully answers the question, but I do really like to affirm that I'm not just a singer, but I'm also a songwriter. So usually it's like, if she's a singer born and bred in Cape Town, it's like, but wait, no, singer-songwriter as well. That is definitely something that I want known.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure
Good
we'll
answer.
definitely get into the songwriting aspect of it all. I just want to note, I find it so funny, and this is nothing against that part of the bio, but the born and bred, the bread always makes me feel like we're cattle or something. But it's in a lot of bios. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's the standard now. Not that I know. Like, it doesn't make any
Born
sense.
and bred in
Born
Cape
and bred,
Town,
you
grass-fed.
Sustainably farmed.
Yeah.
Organic.
Okay, so getting into the music, and we're going to roll it right back to the beginning.
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
You were in a band called
I
Skyscrapers.
was.
And
Indeed.
that, I believe, was your initial foray into music. How did that start?
Oh wow. So basically what happened is that I always had a passion for singing, and then I sung at school, had a music teacher, would always try to sing in assemblies. And after, let me just tell you, there was a monumental moment. There was a dynamic shift that happened in one of these assemblies when Frozen came out. Let It Go was the trending track, and I took it on. Okay, I decided Let It Go would be my song for the 4 minutes and how many seconds it was. Lo and behold, got a standing ovation for that, and I promise you that single-handedly created the band. Because following that, also another side note, I'm going to be doing a lot of this.
Yeah,
by
I'll
the
do the
way.
side
I
notes.
usually just kind of pivot from point to
Cool.
point.
Yes.
But basically, in most of the bios, I do claim that it was me that found the band. That's a lie. All right. They came.
Exclusive.
Yeah,
You heard it here
Yeah.
first.
Listen, they actually came to me first because the one pianist, his name's Leo Lechet, he needed a singer for he's part of a music school, and they were doing an end of year concert. They needed a singer for it. Now, he'd already had a drummer who's his close friend. His name's Daniel. But after seeing me in assembly, Let It Go,
Belting that banger.
exactly, that's how Skyscrapers came to be. So initially it was only for that one performance. But following that, we realized that we worked really well together. And then I introduced the fact that I write original music. And what happened is that each of us ended up, we were very privileged in that way that we had a mentor as well. So for Leo had his own keyboard teacher. Daniel had his own drumming teacher, and I had my own singing teacher, all also linked to this music school called Studio Del Arte in Camps Bay. And then that was really the start of Skyscrapers, and we were lucky enough to have some incredible opportunities. Like we wrote one of my songs, Megaphone, became the jingle for their DSTV December campaign in 2016, which was also
Crazy.
another break, guys, because I was known as the Megaphone girl. Not anymore. Don't
Yeah, I don't
worry.
know if you
Yeah, not
wanted to
anymore.
reignite
Yes,
that.
guys.
I'm definitely going to go look at
Say
it.
Part
no,
of the
you're-
history.
I have a dream. No, that's it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm all sorts with a dream. But but then what happened was the band disbanded in 2018 because some people just also, Nick, please make sure that the look in the camera is included in that snippet. Thank you. So basically what happened is that some people wanted to surf and skate. Others wanted to sing. Don't know who did
Tea.
that. Yeah. And so unfortunately, Skyscrapers freaking toppled down.
Yes.
I was going to make, okay, I'm not going to. because it will be scrapped.
The joke was there.
Yes,
It like sat
yes,
in the
it's in the
air.
subtext,
Yeah, it's-
okay?
yeah.
And then I literally was having a teen life crisis, didn't know what to do because, like, to be frank, most of the funding came from one of the parents of like the bandmates. But through our one single Just Kids, Platoon, an artist service agency, they'd seen the video and then they reached out to me. And this is just as the band broke up. And then in literally a month later, I got signed to them. And now I'm a solo artist. So
Crazy. I did think you might say the band broke up because I wanted to become a solo.
No,
solo
I was
artist.
content to be in Skyscrapers for a
Yes.
long time. Okay, I was envisioning big things.
Yes.
One Direction vibes, a little mix of the two. But unfortunately, we were cut off at the stem,
Just
or whatever the
wasn't-
saying goes. That's
Wasn't
not a
meant to
real
be
saying.
Cut off at the stem.
So off the back of Skyscrapers
Yeah.
disbanding,
Yep.
you mentioned in a previous interview that it put you through a bit of a like music
It
crisis. And You
did.
mentioned a little teen life crisis.
I love the teen crisis also because if you guys don't know, Mila is very youthful.
Thank you.
You might think because she is so incredible, so accomplished, how did she fit it into her young baby life? Is only 19,
I'm 19,
Yes.
everyone.
turning 20 this year.
I
Oh.
am. indeed. Yeah, whatever. Big
So
plans,
we'll
big
get into a good little bit more of that because I want to touch on. Actually, that's a good segue into it. You're one of the things that for us at I think your first performance at the cafe with Jabulile.
Yeah.
And then subsequently when we've had you perform at the cafe and at Up the Creek, your performance maturity and your confidence and comfort on stage was always like mind blowing. We were like,
Thank you.
no, like we were like, actually, you don't have a right at the age that you are of being that to go like have some respect for your elders. But I mean, obviously, starting a band as young as you did and performing, lends to that. But what do you think it is that's given you that ability to be as comfortable and I think for me very open on stage as you are, because I know that's something that artists struggle with throughout their careers, and it's something that you seem to have whilst all things being able to improve over time, and they will because you're so young, you've already very much like mastered that skill. And what do you think it is?
That's such a good question. I mean, I'd say it's like a myriad of different factors. So number one, I do feel incredibly privileged. That whole experience with Skyscrapers definitely almost forced you to become natural on stage. I will say that I don't really struggle with that because I feel I'm very extroverted. I'm an only child, okay? I'm used to talking to the wall. So anyone else I could talk to is like a major plus. But the thing is that I had this incredible singing teacher, Sade Ross, and like we were very like in tune with each other, and we really did a lot of our rehearsals weren't purely focused on just the voice, but also just like even just how to stand on stage. Like how are you going to stand on stage to feel the most grounded? How many fingers away from the microphone do you have to be? How can you make the audience feel more included? And that really impacts the way that I organize my set today. Even though those initial lessons were in 2016, 2015. And then I'd also say, I mean, obviously, the more you do it, it's like flexing a muscle, the easier it gets. But I don't know, there's some sort of switch that happens when I get on stage, mainly because I feel it's I don't feel that there's a huge separation between myself and the audience. Like, I actually feel like there's a very much like a symbiotic relationship. And also that, I don't know, like something is being channeled. And it's such an incredible way just to express myself and to share everything that it doesn't feel like something that is daunting. I mean, it is to a degree, and I think it's good because it just means like you're alive and you care. But yeah, it just happens organically, and that just by chance I do feel comfortable, which I'm really happy about. Okay,
Yes.
and long may it last, please. To whomever, whatever's listening. But yeah. I don't know if that answers the question.
I mean, very much so, and fascinatingly. And I think the point that you made there about having a teacher who, teaches that side of like being a performer and being a performing singer and being a stage performer makes such an immense difference, because like there's a lot of talented singers, a lot of talented songwriters, but who don't understand, and it's technique, it's like technical practice, but that gives you so much confidence when you do step on stage, that that you're doing so many things right, that I think it just really helps like bring it down, because I know a lot of people are not lucky enough to have that kind of training. In fact, most people aren't lucky enough to have that kind of training. And I remember it was one of the things, like the way that you used a microphone. I was like, oh my God, she has microphone technique. This is amazing.
No, I mean, it's also, you really do make such a good point, because like I've never really, this is also why I'm so happy to be doing the podcast, because I just feel like these questions are so like well thought out. Kudos to you guys. But
shout out, Fila.
No, it is really something that's become muscle memory, and something that's very ingrained into just the way that I operate. Thank goodness. And of course, that is not purely because of me. That is 100% due to teachers, but also observing other performers, which you learn so much from as well. You see things you want to emulate, or oh my gosh, they did this, and oh, the way they phrased a question to the audience, that's so smart.
Well said. Gina, do you have a question?
My brain kind of does just like go a little bit blank. I'm just like listening, because like, I mean, also just the way you articulate everything, I'm just like, who is she and where did she come from?
Just watch out, because my head's already big with this on. It's just gonna grow.
I mean, it's true, I think, and I'm also really glad we're having the conversation, because it gives other young performers the opportunity to kind of benefit from your wisdom and experience in that.
I mean, like, also besides when you actually get on stage and you're performing, and the maturity there, you can tell in the way that you're creating your brand that you understand the business side of it too. And like, you're not just resting on the fact that you are an incredible performer. Like, talent often gets people not very far. I mean, the world is saturated with talented people. Like, at what stage, I don't know, like, at what stage did you realize you really need to like lean into that and like hone in those skills of actually promoting yourself?
That's such a good question. I mean, I feel definitely when I became a solo artist, it became more of a focus. Also, like, in a good way, because I'd had a completely clean slate. I wasn't Mila from Skyscrapers anymore. It was Mila Smith, the solo artist. And I will say, though, at the beginning, a lot of the marketing had a lot of assistance as well. Like, I will say a lot of the journey, not to say that I don't work and that I'm not fiercely dedicated, but I'm extremely privileged to have gotten the opportunity to be signed at in grade 8. So I was 14 years old. Especially to an artist service agency like Platoon, who don't function like a Sony, or anything like that. They focus more on the distribution of music. So the fact that they'd signed me, it was completely different. So I was kind of put in an incubation phase where they financed me kind of going to different producers purely to hone in my sound, which would therefore help me invent a brand, because it was like, okay, so here's Mila, she's going to be a pop soul artist, and this is how we're going to market her. And with Liars and Fakes, which was my debut single, I mean, the whole marketing for that was insane. There were websites, there were Q&As to find out how much of a liar you were. And that was amazing. But I feel that really where the marketing, especially on my side, came in was like truly when I went into matric. Because I feel after COVID, there was like an effort from Platoon to kind of pull back the reins a little bit. I think for various factors. Number one, that, more artists are now signed to them. Like, there's not really time to do this really intense incubated focus. But also I'd grown up in the interim. So it meant that with the release of Nice Guy, which also kind of changed the trajectory of the songs I made, because it was the first song that was truly born out of collaboration. Like that song was co-written, which was amazing, and it was pop punk, and the whole aesthetic was like good girl gone bad. I'm still completely a good girl. Let it be known, okay? Like, I wish I had more of an edge, but actually I'm happy with how I am. Please, okay, let's continue. So
Life crisis on the mic.
But basically, it was like that. I really felt, and I mean, I will say throughout the whole, like my whole career, I have felt like I've had all agency. There's never been something put out that I felt, I don't agree with that. I don't gel with that, because I would say,
Yes.
but with Nice Guy and onwards, it just, hey,
No.
babes.
I was about to say, after you answer this next question, we need to do something about The Fly, who is now an unpaid actor in this podcast.
Thank
But
you so much.
finish the thought and then we'll,
Fancy the Fly. Watch out. I'm coming for you. But with the branding, so after Nice Guy, and when now, like, I've taken the gap year, my debut EP came out. That's really when I've started taking advantage of also just the marketing that I know how to do, whether that be posting stuff on TikTok, but also like making reels for live performances even, which may seem like pretty inconsequential, but I mean, it all goes towards what anyone who doesn't know you've boosted a post, they're going to see that post first. That's how they're going to be introduced to you. And it's stuff like that I felt, it's very tough. I really, like, I do struggle. And the thing is, when you're in a 5-minute interview on radio and they ask, like, what do you have some advice for young performers? And you like, reach out. You've got the whole world at your fingertips. Like, it's so textbook. But in reality, it's like, oh my God, yeah, I've got the whole world at my fingertips. But I mean, I kind of despise it. Because the comparison is crazy. You're seeing people also my age on, like, online on TikTok, their videos blowing up, and you're thinking, what am I doing wrong? What's the difference between their music and mine? Like, is there something inherent that it's just not going to happen? So that definitely lends its way, like, when you're branding yourself, it lends its way to a lot of, like, self-doubt, not even of yourself, but just of, like, the whole fucking society. Don't know if I can swear, sorry.
Yes, it's a podcast. This is the internet. You can do what you want.
But yeah, that's all just stuff that I'm just busy navigating. I'm kind of just being in it and seeing what happens, and also trying not to take it too much to heart, trying not to take it personally, like having the faith that, like, when it comes, it comes. When it happens, it happens.
Yeah. But I mean, I think your persistence with the marketing and stuff will pay off, because sometimes it's also just luck, and you can't be discouraged by things that don't do as well as they should. And also, it's the people that think, like, after they've had one big break or something and they rest on,
they're chilling. They're chilling.
Like, because there's that saturation, like you said, you see so many people on TikTok your age, whatever. There's just, at this point, yes, everybody has, the world at their fingertips. And so you just got to keep pushing. Yeah.
I think the thing that people
Before
also
you think, can we get rid of the fly? Sorry.
Fly, R.I.P.
So I didn't see it before.
I live for this.
I mean, maybe it'll just stay away.
I think it's gone. And then what's the bet when something profound is said, it comes right back. Little,
as soon as we
what's its name? Francine? I think Francois. Bonsoir. Woo!
Into it.
So, you released Lies and Fake when you Lies and Fake, fantastic. You released Lies and Fakes when you were 16, and Nice Guy, and then subsequent releases. How would you describe the process of evolving and growing as an artist, and how your sound has progressed, kind of working with different producers, and what that's been like?
So I'd say that initially I was working with my Ableton teacher, Kevin Ribbons, and that process, along with every other, producer collab that I've done, it has been very exploratory. It's been very fun. The emphasis a lot is on learning and just kind of seeing where the music takes you. But it's crazy because Lies and Fakes itself had such a like metamorphosis. It went first through Kevin Ribbons, and then I went to new producers called now they're called the Imports. They were called Noble. Now they're
Shout out to the
left.
Imports.
Shout out to the Imports though. And that was also amazing because the song that initially had, I mean, it was always going to be a pop song, but after the Imports, it became this kind of Dua Lipa 80s inspired track, which was awesome. And then after the Imports, I'm now with my current producer, Mike Zeetzman, PH Fat. Hey, Mike. Dolph Willemser and Jubilee Limajola, who are like we're the squad. And also Jono. But Jono's in the new phase now. Hey, Jono. You've been
Shout out,
watching.
Jono.
Shout out. They know Jono, guys. Just saying, in a circle. But basically, I'd say that the way that the sound has progressed is that, and I think my writing in general, I'm a lot more intentional with the words I use. And I've always been. But as you grow, your vocabulary grows as well. I read a lot during COVID, all right? Things changed. Dictionaries were browsed.
Shit got boring.
And I also believe I started holding myself to a higher standard. Not to say that Lies and Fakes wasn't my highest standard. It was at the time. And as you know, you just progress. And that meant that I usually, and also these are all lessons that I'd learned really young. And it's just kind of been implemented the more I've been doing this. But it's we tend to have lots of safe words that we go to: heart, night, eye, dream, lie, Lies and Fakes. And I just made a conscious choice to try remove that type of stuff and find interesting ways to express what I want to say. But also, what I think was instrumental is that I initially had a really bad idea about collaboration. I thought it kind of made you less of a writer because who are you if you're not writing your whole song? But then I started collaborating with Mike, Jubilee Dolph, and that misconception was completely changed because instead we were conceiving melodies I never would have thought of, and lines I never would have written had it not been for that collaboration. And that also was monumental because now it's also I'm writing with those lessons in mind. I'm writing also excited that, you know what, if I don't have a pre-chorus, it's okay. Don't be discouraged. I'll write it in a session with a producer, or it'll come to me or whatever. And it's just that framework and that mindset has shifted. And that's definitely influenced the way that the music sounds. And I kind of feel that the way I'm going, I don't really like to define myself by a specific genre. I never have. I definitely think in general it's pop music, or pop in all its forms: pop punk, pop R&B, pop soul, etc. But I'm just so interested to continue to explore that. I feel that you never have to be confined into a box of what sounds you, because you are always reinventing yourself. So yeah.
I think that's such an interesting point you touched on there at the end, in terms of having the space to move through these different sounds and phases. As an artist, Taylor Swift at the moment is the best example of,
absolutely,
well, with the Eras tour, very topical, but she made the point that I was this artist and then this artist and then this artist, and I've grown and these are my different eras. And it's really cool that I think her being kind of that explicit about it means that it's people understand that a bit better now, which is cool.
Absolutely.
You touched on working, and I mean, you've written with some of the biggest producers and artists in the country, Mike, Dolph, Jabu and John are getting there for sure, 100%. Future, some of the biggest artists in the country. What has the biggest lesson you've learnt from working with those experienced, I mean, Mike being such a pivotal example. He's just been on the scene forever in so many different ways. What have been the things that you've learned from working with those real industry stalwarts, as it were?
I mean, I think what I've learned, and I think it's also just testament to the people that they are, because it's the space that they entertain. But I learned just to always just advocate for myself and speak up for myself, because I know I'll be heard. And even if you won't be heard, and this doesn't apply to the current producers I'm with, but just in general, I think it's important when it's your art that if you're hearing a sound, you're like, I don't like that. Don't be afraid. Like, it's your music. You're the one that's going to be listening to it the most before it's out into the world. Like, you should love it. So that's very important. And number two, it's just try things out. Don't be afraid to fail. And that's where it's been so amazing to work with them, because there is just kind of times where you're doing like, okay, I'm doing a shot in the dark. I'm going to try this, guys. Just bear with me here. And they do it. And they're so calm, no judgment. And oftentimes it ends up being the take we use. It ends up being the thing that transforms the song into something we never would have perceived had it not been for that. We're going to take that chance. And that's definitely what I've learned. And also, listen, I will say I've observed some producer things. Okay, I've observed how things operate. I am no means professional, but it definitely does inspire me to, you know, at least do the beginning stages myself. Am I there yet? Absolutely not. All right, but I will be. Let's do a catch up in a year's time.
Yes.
Boom.
Yeah, I love like your outlook on it all, and like your willingness to learn and keep learning, and like even earlier when you were speaking about observing how other people are on stage, and it's like, yeah, like learn from what people are already doing, and like
it's right there.
Yeah, just absorb it all and have fun with it. And yeah,
Absolutely.
You touched on it a little bit earlier, but you mentioned previously in the interview with Native that often the best ideas and songs and moments come from like a shot in the dark, or you're not really thinking about like, let me just throw this idea on the mic, like let's see what happens. And you know, leaning into those failures and things that you think aren't going to work. Which one of your songs has felt like the biggest like shot in the dark that you've ended up loving?
Wow,
or
that's such a good question.
done incredibly well, performed differently to what you expect?
That's such a good question. I mean, I'd say there were two. So I'd say Nice Guy was definitely a shot in the dark, because I came into studio having listened to Bad Idea by Girl in Red, which is also very like pop punky type song. And I played it for everyone. I said, guys, we're doing this today. And they were like, okay, yeah, sure. And I had an idea for a chorus, and it's crazy also just the timing of things, because I had this the Nice Guy chorus probably for a year, and I hadn't had anything. I didn't know what to do with it. Didn't have pre-chorus, verse, simply the chorus. And it worked perfectly with the chords that I had established, and afterwards, boom, the song was already being written. And I will say, like, this shot in the dark actually came from Mike, because in the second verse, the I ain't even got no time for nice guys, like that melody, I had not thought of at all. And that was Mike. And initially I was a bit hesitant, because I was just like, this is so not what I didn't even fathom this. But, you know, it's also just about trusting and being willing to, you know, just because it's not your idea. I mean, number one, it's kind of all of us, it's such a collective experience. But the more you like listen to Mike singing it, I was like, yeah, this is fine. And then you just build on that and you write on that, and then you look back and it's like, wow, this has just completely elevated the song. So I mean, Nice Guy just as a project was just so amazing. And no, thank you. No, but also more because it was just something I hadn't done before. And then more recently, I'd say that this is an unreleased song called Deceiver, which I just love because it feels incredibly raw. I mean, all my songs kind of feel like diary entries. But this one, like, I couldn't even believe I was recording it when I was recording it, just because it feels like like a big just announcement. But it was, yeah, I'm just excited for it to be heard. Like, and also it's interesting the way that I'm perceiving these songs, and also just the future songs I've been doing, because it's interesting to see how live performance informs your studio recording, especially when it comes to unreleased songs, because you see, number one, how the crowd reacts, but also it's just like that energy that's almost palpable that you feel when you're performing a song live. It's like you want to emulate that in the studio recording. You don't want it to be a sense that, oh my God, when you hear it live, it's incredible. You listen to the actual recording on streaming and you're like, what the hell is this? Who got in the studio? Who put this down? So that's also interesting. And it's daunting as well because you want to make sure that it's completely the same feeling you felt performing it live. But I'm confident that it will be. Yeah.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
When is...
Ooh, I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm not trying to do that to be like all coy. No, like I
Yes.
genuinely don't know.
Okay.
Because there is another song that's also almost Nice Guy Part 2, which is already ready. So I feel that that's going to come out first. And that's called The Adults Are Talking, by the way. That's the name of the song. Watch the space, everybody.
Do you know when that one's coming out?
Ooh, no. I don't
Okay,
know.
just
I
sooner.
know nothing.
Are
Okay,
you
cool.
performing either of these at
I
the
am
moment?
indeed. Live on all my live shows. This is on the lineup.
Guys,
All the
very
more
exciting.
incentive.
the unreleased music
But
to live
yeah,
shows.
exactly. Unfortunately, this episode will be out after the show,
Ah,
but maybe we can
that's
clip
true.
a snippet and
For
come to Mila's
promo.
show on the 26th, because then you'll...
But I'm also opening for Jamie Lee on the
Oh
10th.
yes, on the 10th.
Yes.
And I think it might be out by then.
Anyway, we'll
That would be good.
shall
So it's either 10th of
We
May
shall
or
see.
maybe come to the show on the 26th of
Yeah.
April.
super
Um,
random question, but earlier when
I
you
love
were
random questions. I live for
let's
them.
do it. When you were chatting about like you want to be like defined by a genre, but it's all sort of like pop adjacent. When you go home and you listen to music,
Ooh. Yes.
like what is, and like I'm not gonna ask you a favorite genre. I feel like that's just like too hard. But like, are you gonna throw at us that like you're actually a metalhead
That's so
secretly,
funny.
or
Oh
like
my
I'm sure you
gosh.
listen to like quite a wide
Mm.
variety of genres just to like feel it all out. But like,
Absolutely.
would you say like you listen to a lot of pop music or not?
Absolutely. I
Okay.
listen to a lot of pop. Recently, I've been listening to a lot of Chapel Roan, who is like, she's literally my...
I literally have like ping pong
Oh my
club,
God.
like
Mila?
Can I just say,
super-
no, no, no.
I
Rewind
haven't heard
Supernova,
another
like-
musician for the last week.
yeah, we get in the car. I'm
No,
like
she's
Brad,
literally-
I'm
but
listening to Chapel.
I've told you before, but I don't think you knew her at the time. But you literally look like her, like a little bit. No,
Did you tell me
for
that?
real. Yeah, at Up the
Yes,
Creek,
you-
I was too. I
yes,
even
you
said to my mom,
did.
I was like, Gina looks like Chapel
Oh my
Roan.
gosh, I don't remember that
Like,
at all.
OMG, you do.
I
And
don't
she's
know.
literally my idol right now. I mean, Gina's always been, but like, yo, no, I'm obsessed with her. And mark my words, I've been
Yes.
literally manifesting it. I
Yes.
will open for her.
Oh my
one day.
gosh.
Like, it will happen.
Only if I'm coming like
Yeah,
your
you
hand
will.
Chapel
bag.
Roan?
You're so coming. No, like, I
This is the
will.
call out.
Hello. Hey, Kaylee. I'm like a huge fan. Anyway, no, but so a lot of Chapel Roan constantly, because I do feel
Cool.
that when it comes to like just artists in general, like I feel the one that I've resonated to the most, not only just resonated, but also just the sound that I listened to her album and I've got a mix of like just admiration but also deep envy, because it's like I want that song, like I want to release
Yes.
that song, which is how you know it's just so good.
Yes.
So lots of Chapel Roan, lots of 80s, completely like Modern Talking, Depeche Mode, and then I've listened to like Motown stuff. So just lots of The Young Hearts Run Free, or what, Emotion by some Brenda Lee, or like lots of
yeah.
80s stuff. Then here's the twist. All right,
Yes.
now keep in mind, like I'm a Jewish gal, but I listened to in Matric. Matric was a crazy time. My studying schedule, like my music, was all over the place.
It's chaos.
Listening to, I think they were singing in Latin, but I think it was like some church songs, but it wasn't like actual church songs. It was like choir.
Just gospel choir style.
Choir, but it's all
Like Latin.
like all very.
And that got you
Cool.
through it all.
Like,
Whatever
don't
works,
ask
hey?
me why.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how I came across it. I couldn't tell you a name of one in Latin, of course.
Yes.
But boom, that happened. Then and also, this is a great question. I'm having such fun. Let me just continue.
Dive deeper. I know we're gonna
then there's also,
uncover.
like, the cinematic stuff, because I've got a dream. Like I would love to write music for a film score. So here I was listening to like completely, like all these hectic, like I'd search like cinema version of songs.
Yes.
So here I am listening to Man.
Yeah, you get that
the
massive
cinematic version.
orchestral
yes, which is
or
usually like the
arrangement.
formula is always like ding, like one little like keyboard, like ding, ding, and then it's like ding. Then you get like
Yes.
crazy drums that don't really fit, and then it's like boom, orchestral, and then like Mad World, and they all have that same like crazy raspy voice. I
Yeah.
don't care. I ate it up completely. Then we've got some Lana Del Rey. Yep. Adele. Taylor Swift. Okay. Not okay though. Like, I do love you, Taylor Swift, as well. Big fan. Seriously. And then, who else? Just kind of anyone.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Just
I
any
don't
think that's
music,
the
any
best
genre.
I don't
outlook on
discriminate.
it.
If it's a
Literally,
banger,
if
it's a banger.
It's a banger.
Yes.
Who am I to say it's not when it is?
Including the Latin gospel.
Amen. Yeah, that was crazy.
Sometimes.
times. It was.
Yeah.
It's even, guys, also, have you seen the viral video? There was one night they were singing Latin gospel. The dude couldn't reach the note. He uses like a helium balloon.
Yes.
That song. Woo! Wow. It took me places. I promise you.
So Jewish by culture, but
Jewish
not
by
by
culture.
belief.
Like, yeah. No, like,
Which I feel is a real thing.
yeah, no, like,
Definitely
I'm
a real
completely
thing.
a cultural
Yeah.
Jew. Like, my best friend and I, we are like complete cultural Jews. Love being Jewish. Love all this. Our Passover's coming up. So excited for that. Gonna see you there, Gran, and all that stuff. But it comes to like actual just believing in God, which is also a big shift. We're getting into it now.
We're getting into
Because,
it.
no, you don't understand, guys. We went to a
Yes.
hyper-religious school. Hyper-religious. I couldn't even
Yes.
bring my own food because it might have been non-kosher. All right. My dream up until grade 3 was I'm going to be a rebbitzin, which, if you don't know, it means that you're the wife of a rabbi.
Oh my
which is like the
gosh.
Jewish version of a priest. That was my purpose. I was going to
Yes.
be a rebbitzin. I was so happy about it. I was so dedicated.
You
I
definitely would have slated it,
Thank-
by the way.
Thank you, guys.
They've really
Listen,
lost
I have
out.
done a full circle moment because I actually did model for Rebbitzin recently. Whoa.
That's crazy.
I know.
That is like a.
Don't even,
How does that work?
listen, she's an entrepreneur in her own right. Sarah Feldman,
Okay,
Modesty Wear.
okay.
Okay, check it out. But there was just, so that was happening. Like, I was saying prayers after I went to the bathroom because it is a thing. All right.
Yes.
My mum was a little concerned because she was not saying prayers after the bathroom, and she was like, "Is this gonna be a lifetime thing?" Will I have
She
to?
was like, my child
Yeah, like,
is.
will I have to? And here she was like, you can't mix milk and meat because of like the kosher
Yes.
laws. But then I would have like meaty macaroni from Woolies, which I only fathomed it was milk and meat like years down the line. And then I
Yeah.
told my mom, and she was like, "Oh my god, oh, really?" I said, "Yeah, apparently it's meat and milk." She's like, "No idea." I mean, everyone was not
Ignorance
wanting-
is bliss.
Yeah,
It's one of those
ignorance is
things.
I mean, yeah. So yeah, we went from Rebbitzin and Mila to just not, because then I went to a very secular Jewish school, and then everyone was like swearing, and I was like, "What is this?" Like, wow, this is incredible. And then then I faked a back injury because I had no friends. What? Oh yeah, and then here we are. This is the story. You see, I once told them the story. I think Gina walked away because Gina was like, "I can't deal with the story." But I promise, yes.
Now you can't.
Yeah, now I'm on the podcast.
You can't go anywhere
Did
to
I,
drive.
what? I was just like, this is too
You're
much.
like, "I can't with your stories," but in a kind way. Gina, you don't mean it in a bad way. Like,
I
you're just like,
can't
with
remember.
your
She means it
stories right now."
very lovingly.
And she was like, "I have to protect my peace." She didn't say that, but that was the subtext. And
Depending on the location and the
So- but it's so
situation,
true.
I
Listen,
might.
you
I
were
don't know.
working. You
I
were
was
working.
probably working.
It's probably one of those like I don't have time to get into this
Yes,
the
I
like
think-
time that the story
Absolutely.
deserves. Do you know what I mean?
Do we have time now?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I think
No, but no, listen, we can stick to the music stuff.
no. Well, when you think about what people write about, I mean, like love is like one of the like main topics, and
I like it.
we'll get to that next. But
Cool.
so is like belief and
Mm.
like your greater purpose in the world,
Mm,
because like one would think that musicians are writing songs about things they think about and people think existentially. So, I mean, is that something that's come into your writing just yet? Like your experience with like religion and, you know, changing views?
I mean, I think for me, because I don't feel that religion has ever been a focus for my writing. Like, I will say there are some like beautiful Hebrew songs that I just always gravitate towards too, and I always like to establish those chords on the piano and just play them for myself. But I would say that I think, what's the right word? Allegory. I'm not sure if that's the right term. For like just religious like symbolism is what I usually gravitate towards.
Okay.
So there's the song "Hide in Hell." No, I'm Jewish, don't believe in hell. But I mean, listen, it's a good line, am I right? Who am I to argue with a good line? Just because it's still something that's unanimously understood as, okay, you're telling someone to hide in hell. That means like you literally sentencing them to what? This terrible life. But the double meaning of, surely if you're hiding in hell, then it's somewhere that's actually familiar to you. So what type of person are you that your safe place is hell? Boom. Whoa, we're going deep now.
There we go.
So yeah, so like that, I really do. I love that symbolism, and there are like definitely artists that I listen to. I mean, Ethel Cain, who's very like, she's like incredible. And she uses like a lot of that imagery.
Yes.
But without it necessarily being religious, it's more just maybe just like a unanimous religious understanding. No set religion. And so that's what I feel I use. But it's not, I mean, it's more about, I use it more for the symbolism as opposed to like, not necessarily that religion's pushing an agenda. Well, but
aren't they all? It's just a large group power structure of people, and they're always just
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but you sip your water, you cool off because now you asked for it. Love?
Oh my god.
Question mark?
Okay, let it actually be known, everyone. I'm 19 years old. I don't know if you've heard that sound on TikTok. It's like, I'm 27 years old. I have no money and no prospects. Now listen, sure, I might have some money, not gonna lie, and that's from hard-earned work. Let it be known.
Let it be known.
Thank you, Alan Gray, also for your service. But love, whoa, like where is everyone? Am I right? Where are they? Where is everyone gone? Don't know where you are.
Yeah.
And it's also crazy to me because, and this is no fault of the media unless it is, but on all these press releases and things I do, everyone assumes that all the songs are about love, when actually half the time it's about platonic friendships and friendship breakups, all right? Not loved ones. There haven't been any. Do you understand? But it's also fair because I know that there is a close correlation between the feelings of romantic love versus the feelings of platonic love. I mean, they're both very deep, emotional.
Sometimes
things.
they're confused.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whoa, yes, exactly.
everyone been there, done that.
Yeah.
Got the t-shirt.
Exactly. But like, it's just, but I will say, like, recently, actually a day ago, started writing my first love song. Have I been in love?
How topical are we?
No, so topical. Absolutely. It was, I mean, that was felt amazing because I'm like, happy Mila.
Yes.
Yeah, because I will say the new body of work is very morally grey Mila. It's like, she's actually not good.
I can't lie. I love Mila
love-
morally grey.
We love a morally grey
Absolutely.
character.
So it's like morally grey Mila, but then I was like, oh, we're gonna throw a love song in here. So maybe it's like morally grey Mila, but maybe she's in love too. But
that can be
just
morally
saying,
grey in and
girls,
of
Yeah.
itself.
I'm available. Like, I just gotta.
That can be morally grey. We love morally grey because
Thank you.
everyone's morally grey in real
Everyone.
life.
Amen.
So I think like I also love that you're willing to like show that side of you. I really don't like, and this is nothing against people that do it, but
Say it,
and
just
maybe
say
they're
it. It's a
discovering
safe space.
themselves, but I really don't like anyone that like just has like super clean cut. Like
Oh, of course.
you're like, oh, I could like put my finger on them. Because like you can't.
Exactly.
And if they're portraying that, they probably just haven't found their grey side.
Masking.
Yeah. So, and like, yeah, I don't know. But especially if you're going to be in the public eye, for me, honestly, it's something I judge like people on. I'm like, anyone that's too, I don't want to say vanilla, but I feel like it's a universal term.
You really.
So people are going to get what I'm saying. I
100%.
need the spice.
Amen. No, I'm seriously
Like,
morally grey Mila. Like, whoa, why is she
Here for
cheating in a
it.
song? Have I cheated? No, because I haven't been in a relationship. But this is like all things that are just considered. They're all
It's the
things
world building.
Amen. So I'm like,
Yes.
I will say there was some times I was in. So the adults are talking. Basically, I'm berating this girl who's not a real person. Kidding. She's real. Okay. I'm really not a big fan of you. I can't stand you. Anyway, this girl, don't know her name, won't reveal it actually, because she actually still follows me, even though I don't follow her. But basically, this whole song is basically berating her because why not? And then do we get to the what's it called, the bridge, and I'm playing it for Mike. And John was there, and we were like, like it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
And then Mike actually turned around. He was like, "But people aren't gonna think you're nice." And I was like, "Haven't we? Isn't this the point?" Didn't we?
Yeah.
So I will
Morally
say,
grey
like,
conflict.
Yes, got
Yeah.
conflict. Like maybe she's not nice. Like, whoa, who is she?
Yes.
But then I will say some lyrics were changed. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm still have a little bit of moral high ground.
Yes.
But I mean, I love to explore that because we are all nuanced. Okay, we're not all perfect. We hate people. It's
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Like you're not gonna get on with
Like, not
everyone.
hate, just like strongly
Dislike.
Yes.
My
Right.
therapist once was like, "It's okay to like feel hate," and I was like, "No, like it's fine. Like I'll just stick with strongly disliking them."
Aggressively
But
dislike.
this conversation just reminded me of a line, Renee Rapp in Tummy Hurts, where she's like,
Oh,
like,
I love you, Renee
"It's a
Rapp.
tummy hurts, but like you'll grow up to be a monster, like your
Like your
mother and
mother,
your
yeah.
father." I'm like, she just called this man a monster and his wife or whoever that she doesn't even know,
exactly.
and the child will
It's
now also
crazy.
be a monster. I'm like, hectic. I don't know why. I was like, you call them monsters.
I know.
But
It's-
like, whatever.
That's gotta have
Poetic
some- gotta
device,
have
you
some-
know, poetic
Yeah,
license, all that
absolutely.
jazz.
Yeah, but that's very exciting.
I have 2 questions because
Okay,
we do
let's
need
get
to wrap
through
up
them.
so that it's a
Understood.
nice
Yes.
packaged episode.
I also did just
The
see
first
Francois.
one.
I don't know if anyone else did.
Francois.
You can stay fucked off.
Okay.
Bonsoir.
The first one, you mentioned in radio interviews, you often don't get the time when they're like, "What would be your advice to
Oh
young
my God.
artists?" And you're like,
It's terrible.
have a little bit of time.
Ooh.
Some like genuine, like, what
Oh,
what
yeah.
is the thing you wish you got told when you were starting, like, or the thing, the mistakes you've made that you would most have liked someone else to prevent?
So I would say like the advice that I would give to like up and coming artists and just people in general that are interested in music is that you will have to wait. It is a very long game that you're playing. And that's through every aspect of it. So that's number one, just your career trajectory, you blowing up, because blowing up is not realistic for most people, if we're being honest. Like, to those that blew up, congratulations to you. Hate you. Kidding. No, I'm very proud. But it's not realistic. And so, like, I saw this quote, which is like your favorite overnight success was actually 10 years in the making. And that's so true. And it's also just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, especially when it comes to post-production stuff, because also there's a misconception. You record a song and it's done, it can come out. Meanwhile, you actually have to allocate 6 weeks to all the press stuff, writing a bio, sending it out to people, trying to get radio interviews, trying to get plays on streaming and like pre-saves and all that type of stuff. So consider that also in your plan. Know that it's not going to be something that is immediate. But that being said, it doesn't mean that you need to just sit back and take it. Like, if you know that people are slacking off, and it doesn't have to be intentional, because life happens, everything's hectic, everyone's overstretched. It's the nature of capitalism, am I right? We'll destroy it all. But what will happen is
Cheers
that
to that.
you have to, it just means that you yourself need to be like, okay, have that plan, follow up with people. Like, listen, don't be mean about it, but just follow up with people, get the status of when things are meant to come out. Like, that is definitely a thing for me, because it was the wait was excruciating. I never thought that my EP would come out. I could not picture it coming out, honestly. Even 1 week before, I thought this will never actually be heard by other people. And then afterwards, I mean, all of that wait is kind of forgotten because you've got the finished product. So keep that in mind. But also, and this is something that is constant, it's not something that I've overcome. It's still something that I'm going through and just trying to keep mindful of, is that like comparison will kill you. It's truly, it's so natural to compare, but it's also detrimental to compare as well, because it doesn't serve you, and in fact it just makes you spiral. And the thing is, it's that when one thing goes wrong, oh, look at that, they've got this many streams, I've only got this, then you start spiraling. But you know what, also, by the way, I didn't even finish that, and I didn't do that either, and then you're a wreck for the rest of the week. I don't know, month, I don't know. But so I'd say, like, just know that your trust in your own career path, that when it's your time, it will be your time. Like, the universe has a strange way that one door closes, another door opens, and you look back and you've realized, you know what, it's really great that I've had this lesson now instead of 6 years down the line. So it's just important to be mindful of that, because also don't be caught up in this rush to create and produce. I'm not saying that it's not great to create, and you should if you're feeling organic about it. If it's feeling like, oh, I'm excited, I'm in a creative space, I'm going to do it. But when it comes to, you know, like the making of reels and the making of TikToks and that stuff, like it's only recently I felt more comfortable with it. And I think a large part of that is just because I kind of just post it with no expectation. Post it because it's like, okay, I want to just have a little proof of life, but not expecting that it's going to absolutely change my life. Because why put that added pressure on yourself when that energy can be afforded into doing something a lot more, I don't know, just fulfilling, such as just do a song, write a song, or play or watch a movie with your cats or something. Yeah.
That was
amazing.
very good advice,
Thank
I think. And then the last thing that we like to do to close things out, in the spirit of supporting incredible local creative people that we know and love, we like to give an opportunity to the guests to shout out some people on the scene doing cool shit that you think people need to check out.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, you actually introduced me to them. And also, can I shout out you guys? I mean, surely they know you already. But can I just say, Cam, are you on? But can I just say, like, Kaya Cafe, we have such a shortage of just safe spaces for up and coming creatives to just have, like, number one, a professional environment to share their work with, but also that has like a loyal community that'll show up for you. And it's also like the space is perfect because it's not too small that you feel like no one's gonna find you, but not too big that the fact that you're stressed about filling a venue. I mean, I'm still stressed, okay? But I mean, that's kind of just how I am perpetually. But like, shout out to you guys, because it was after your show opening for Jabalile Majola that I felt I can actually do this live set by myself. I don't need an accompanist. Now I've added an accompanist because it's like a luxury, and it really does add another layer to the set. But it's just, yeah, like really grateful for you guys doing that. And I mean, Up the Creek, whoa,
Sure. What a time.
So exciting.
That started something. I swear it did. Okay, my mom's checked the astrology. All right, she knows these things.
Yeah, it's all it's
all
connecting
connected.
well. Yeah.
But, I mean, and then I'd also shout out Lucanio and the High Rollers. I mean, they're also just a look at their performance, and it's definitely something that you just want to emulate because it's so electric, it's so engaging, and it's just like everyone has their time to shine, which is just beautiful. Other artists I think of, I mean, Erin Elliott, who I've actually never met, but I see, like, speak of marketing, her marketing's great. Like, I found her on Instagram. She's amazing. So she's a singer-songwriter. So shout out to you. Like, love what you're doing. Your dedication to your posting of reels is something to be admired. Let me tell you. Then I would shout out Anika Kiana, who a few years older than me. We met in 2018. We were both in the production of Hairspray, the musical, and she's just incredible. And then Jabalile Majola, who is also not only an incredible performer and songwriter, but also has given, what's so incredible is when you, as an established artist, or at least more like, or definitely on the way there, because I mean, now Jabs, you are established, okay?
Yeah.
Like, you give the space, you lend the space to an emerging artist. So the fact that I was able to open for him for 2 of his shows with, like, literally he just called me up and said, do you want to open for me? It's incredible because they have, like, I don't even think he knows how much of an impact that had. I was going to do a show with Majosi. Unfortunately, it was postponed, but he also just reached out and he requested that I open for him. And it's those selfless acts, and that's awareness that we are all part of the same community, and that the focus should be uplifting all of us, because we will all get our individual spot to shine. That's so vital, and it's so important. And it's something that you mustn't lose sight of in, like, in light of being competitive and worried about, oh, but if I do this, what about me? It'll have, like, you'll have your time to shine. So just kudos to all you guys. There's so many more I'm forgetting, so many more. I'm gonna feel very bad about this, but I'll just tag you in the comments. Okay, I'll just tag you there. Wait,
you remember, like 1 a.m. and
hold on.
yeah.
And then, but I mean, everyone knows him already, but Mike huge fan. You're incredible. That's why they pay you the big bucks. I'm like, am I right? Well, he'll say no. That's why they pay me the medium to average bucks. It's a whole thing.
We get it.
His advice has been incredible. Like just advice about everything. I mean, he's the one that set me up with Tanaka, who's now the accompanist that I'm performing with. And that's also just so important. It's that someone that's they're willing to just lend their network and help you out. It's so important. And I think it's just something that everyone should be mindful of. And just also, if you do have a spot open in a show, like be conscious of, okay, like who do I think could fit here, or who do I want to give that opportunity to? Yeah.
Amazing.
Long-winded answer.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was
Incredible.
a very good answer.
Yeah.
Shout
It's
out.
been so lovely.
Oh, I love this. Yo, this felt so
Thank
cash.
you.
I love it.
So lovely to chat to
Long
you.
lost siblings, guys. Am I right? This is what it would feel like if I had
I can
siblings.
sit down and chat and not run away. Get into the tea.
Finally.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mila.
thank you, guys.
Really.
Oh, it was amazing. I know what. Listen.
Yeah.
This has been years in the making. First time I met Brad, I actually said to him, I said to him, I would like to be. Do you do the podcast? He says, yes, I do. I said, may I be on the podcast? He said,
No,
he was
that's not how
he
it
was like,
works.
You know, that is a good pitch that you make. I said, listen, I'll take what I can get. But I bided my time.
You
I
planted the
I
seed.
planted the seed and it flourished and grew. And now, voila, full tree.
There we
Full
go.
tree.
And
Like-
on that note, on that little nugget of wisdom,
Don't ask us if you can be on the podcast.
a reminder that you can't ask. Yeah, I mean, you can plant a seed. To
Plant
be
a
fair, that's
seed.
worked.
I'm
But
so
we
keen.
technically don't take applications. We meet people, and then when we like them and back what they're doing, we're like, come on the CAYACast.
Cut approval.
That's how this
Woo.
happened. Thank you so much
Oh,
for being a
thank
part
you.
of the
This
conversation.
was such fun. I love this. Yo,
So excited for what's to come.
me too.
Cheers to that. If you enjoyed this part of the conversation, if you enjoyed this conversation,
All
make
of
sure
it.
you like and subscribe to the CAYACast on YouTube, and check us out on your favorite streaming platforms. Also, check out some old episodes, because we've done episodes with a few of the people that you mentioned there.
Yeah, the imports.
The imports. Should-
Anika Kiana.
Check out some of those conversations.
Yeah.
Hannah, you guys also did one with Hannah. So I was
Hannah?
thinking of
Hannah's another.
there's another-
OG.
I mean, there's a lot, so go
Yeah.
do a little deep dive.
Check that out. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day further. Bye bye.